and welcome back to the SuperCoach Corner podcast for the practice match reviews. I'm your host, Tyson, and joined alongside me, as always, is Darcy. Darcy, it was good to have some footy back, and I'm keen to get into the real stuff next week, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, mate, another weekend that's gets me even more keen for the real stuff to start. But it was good. It felt like real footy again, which is nice, compared to the stuff that we had last week, which was a bit hard to endure. But no, there was a lot of good footy to go on. There was a lot of good Supercoach lessons that we learned as well. So a lot of stuff to dig into, a lot of players we kept our eye out for. But I'm looking forward to going into it a lot further with you.
Yeah, very keen to dive into all the things that were Supercoach relevant in the practice matches. But firstly, shout out to the socials. Make sure you're following us on Facebook, Instagram. We post a lot of pod player to watch. Darcy's been doing a heap of work in terms of those kind of write-ups. So they're really good reads and definitely get you to have a look at the point of differences for each game. So there's some very good stuff there. There's also an unlimited league and some cash leagues. Get onto our socials for those if you are interested. A few leagues are filling up. We've got one full league, two that are very close to filling. So make sure you get in before it's too late. But without further ado, let's just get straight into the practice match reviews. We'll start with Carlton versus Geelong. Good game, I thought, on the Thursday night. We'll just get straight into it. Tanner Bruin, we've been pretty hot on him as a great mid-price option for this upcoming Supercoach season. He dropped a 96 in Supercoach. What did you see from him?
Yeah, he looked so good, especially early on. Just racked up the pill off halfback, and sort of rumored a little bit that move to halfback throughout the preseason. And he took it with both hands, especially in that first half. Moved to the midfield in the second half a little bit. Hopefully, that was throwing a few things around, seeing how he went in there. No, Baz Lenker helped as well. So hopefully, Baz comes back in and Bruin gets that role of halfback because he was really good there. 96 Supercoach points. I think he comes into a lot of people's calculations.
Yeah, I definitely can't disagree with that. Tanner Bruin provided some great dash off that halfback, and it's probably something that they haven't had for the last couple of years. So I really think it elevates Geelong's game, so I think they should persist with that. Makes him more of a lock in a lot of people's sides. Sam Walsh, on the other hand, 133. Wow, he dominated this game. Just looks so good, as fit as ever. We know we're going to get this from Sam Walsh because he just had the potential. Doesn't look like I was going crazy in going after Walsh, was it?
No. I've been anti-Walsh pretty much all preseason. And yeah, I can't say he hasn't come into my calculations a little bit this weekend. Like, that price is just so tempting. We know how good he can be. Yeah, he was good. He was really good on Wednesday night. So 133, it's hard to pass up, especially because his stat line didn't blow us away. 29 touches, 20 of them are handballs. Only 5 tackles, the 1 goal, which was albeit a really good goal. But he didn't stuff the stat sheet, but he really translated to good Supercoach scoring, which is what you want when you're picking up a premium midfielder as well. So, no, I do like the Sam Walsh pick, Task. I can't knock you for it
now. I'm still trying to find a way to fit him in because I'm so deep in that midfield, but I want to get Cozzy back in. So I'm sure you guys have all seen the team reveal. So it's very tempting. I'm doing my best. But Liam Reedy, we're just going to jump around a little bit, I guess. Liam Reedy, playing a bit of ruck time. He attended 47 out of the 108 ruck contests. I quite like it. It was kind of more that half and half split between him and Pitnet. Pitnet's the better tap ruckman, but I reckon Reedy's maybe a little bit better around the ground. He's probably not good enough to hold as an R2 option. Probably just leave him on your bench if he's going to get named. You get to see him in that opening round as well. So I definitely can't knock people picking Liam Reedy at R3. Would you agree, Dars?
Yeah, I agree. I think the DPP is the biggest thing for Liam Reedy. If he's playing and he's taking half the ruck contest, you'll take that every day of the week. So don't stress too much about a 58. I mean, I think that's better than what I would really expect from him. So I take that with both hands and run. Just hope that he's playing round one. Continuing on the Carlton rookie price guys, Harry Dean, just the 41. I mean, he's a young key priced young key position player. Sorry. He played well. He showed some really good signs, but I just don't think he's very relevant at that price. There's probably better options down back. I'm sure you can agree.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree with that. Wade Dirksen was another one of their key back stocks that played in this game. Scored an 80, looked
Really good.
really good, 99k. If he's selected, is it just an easy
Yeah.
take on
Yeah, he looks
Wade
so
Dirksen?
good. And at that price, just frees up so much more that you can do around the ground. If you can just pick that, 199k guy, maybe a second guy that we'll get to later. But yeah, they're huge. And it looks like he's pretty much got that position unlocked. So all Carlton supporters are really wrapped with him. And I think he'll feature come next week. So, or round one, whenever they play. So I think he'll be there, which is exciting.
Yes. Yeah, well, they play opening round, so you get to see it at least for one game. But the only thing to note for this game was that Jacob Wiedering and Nick Haynes were both not playing. So do they come in for those two even, or do they persist with one? Harry Dean, they've gotten a bit out of. Like Dirksen was just a late signing. I think the way Dirksen played, he probably earned his spot more, but Harry Dean being on the list for a while and they really rate him, they could easily pick him first. So wait and see on this one. Ollie Florent and Zach Williams played a bit of half back, and it's all without Nick Newman. Do you see any of these roles persisting with either of these
Yeah,
two?
I see them both persisting. I don't see it as huge Supercoach relevance. Unfortunately, I was keeping a keen eye on them. Florin had a good game at 22 touches, but just the 81 Supercoach, and Williams just 77 at 22 as well. I don't see the high ceiling there. Williams maybe a little bit more just because he is Ford eligible. But yeah, Florent just the mid 300k. I think there's better prices, better options around that price.
Yep, can't disagree with that. Another one that did come across as a late signing was Elijah Hollins. Dropped 103 in his first outing since, I guess, being re-signed. Played a half forward, pushed up the ground, was really nice. Probably just that awkward price that we can't really pick, especially as a half forward. Didn't get any midfield time. So I think it's an easy pass on Elijah Hollins. But Jagger Smith, however,
Easy pass.
126. This guy hasn't even played. This guy hasn't even played a AFL game. Looks like he's played 200 and just a jet. So they've definitely found a great player in Jagger Smith. He could even be a keeper, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, he'll be someone that will be staying in our sides for a long time. I can only imagine. I mean, yeah, scoring 126, albeit in a practice match, he just showed a lot of really good signs. Moves beautifully. You know how highly I rate him, Tice. I see a lot of Nick Dagos in Jagger, the way he moves. His lateral movement, uses the ball well. He's very clean. So, yeah, I think he is as good as Carlton fans have been hyping him up to be. So, that's good to see. One that has sort of come from the clouds, Tice. Mitch Edwards is a ruckman for Geelong. Attended the majority of the ruck contests. Shannon Neal went down with that upper shin knee injury late in the contest. I think from all reports, they're leaning him to ruck, number one ruck next week or round one. I know Sam DeConey's done a bit in the preseason, but they showed last year that he's just not going to be their long-term guy in there. So I don't mind the Mitch Edwards pick as a sleeper like R3 potentially. He doesn't have that DPP, which is disappointing, but yeah, it looks like he could be rucking for Geelong.
Yeah, he attended 40 ruck contests out of 109, which was the most out of Geelong because they did share it around, but was clearly the best at getting the hitouts. He got 20 hitouts from those 40 ruck contests, so that's actually really good return. So I think that they do persist with Mitch Edwards as well. There was no Reece Stanley or Toby Conway, so see maybe we get a look in that round zero, so it's something to just keep an eye on. If Mitch Edwards is number one ruck, I could even run him and McAndrew as my R2 and R3, and just as soon as one of them goes out of the side, they're my downgrade option. So, and I go down to a ruck forward, but then I probably miss Liam Reedy. I don't know. It's just something to play around with. I think and that's something we'll see more of after round 0. And then Sam DeConing was probably the other one. Attended a few ruck contests, but wasn't anything major. We can probably rule out that number 1 ruck for Sam DeConing. Some other noticeable players that were missing. Well, Adam Chera was missing. Does that affect anyone in there? I'm not too sure. He probably gets pushed out a little bit more with Jagger Smith coming in and doing that well.
He's out for 8 weeks as well, so
yeah,
he'll be gone for a long time.
Yeah, so that's a easy one there. That's probably it for this game. Let's move to the Sydney GWS game where the Swans got the better of the Giants. Giants did have a fair few players missing, where Sydney were playing with mostly a full-strength side. One of the big things I wanted to see in this game was the midfield mix for Sydney. Justin McInerney got the most CBAs. Is that something that we're missing? Is this just playing around? I don't know. You didn't convert it to a SuperCoach score since you only got a 65. So do you see anything there from back
No,
then?
nothing there. I think that it's from what it looked like, it was just they're throwing the magnets around, trying to see what they've got. McInerney had the most. Sheldrick had 15, which is second most, tied with Warner and Rowbottom. So Heaney was the 5th most with only 8, obviously, and then Goulden went down early. So he obviously didn't get a good look in either. So I think it'll change a lot next week and going into round 1 as well. So I wouldn't read too much into it. I think Sydney are in a pretty good position where they can just try things in practice matches, which is what they did. And they got a little bit out of Sheldrick. I think he sort of stood out in that game. So he was really good. Speaking of the midfield ties, Goulden went down with that injury early on. From all reports, it's just the most precaution of all precautions, so that there wasn't really anything there. And he'll be good to go this Thursday, which is good for super coaches. He's a really popular option. So one to keep an eye on coming into the season. The Ruckwatch Tice was a really interesting one. My team reveal obviously went out live last week, and Brody Grundy headlined that, and he didn't scare me off at all. He looked so good. Madden has shown signs at AFL level, and throughout the preseason, he is a decent ruckman. There was no Briggs, obviously, but Grundy dominated him, Tyson. He looked really good running across the ground, had 15 touches, 32 hitouts, and scored 115.
Yeah, that's why I think he's definitely going to be the number 1 ruck. It's just, it's a hefty price to pay. If you can fit him in and he fits your buy structure, I don't see why Grundy can't be the number 1 ruck come season end. The new ruck rules don't really affect him. If anything, they might even help him. So I really like the Grundy pick. On Nick Madden, is he an option? Briggs was a laid out. Like, he was named initially. Everyone knew that he was hurt. But yeah, a laid out, obviously didn't get up with the injury. Do you see Nick Madden being the main ruck with the new ruck rules? Because Briggs is more that wrestling type.
I wouldn't put my hat on it. I think Riccardi took majority of the ruck contest last week in the unofficial game, so I think they'll really experiment with Riccardi in there. Briggs will obviously get his go at some point. Madden will have his fair share. I think there's just too much merry-go-rounding there for me to be really keen on it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I do agree with that. You can't back Nick Madden at this point. Obviously, with Tom Green going down with that ACL out for the whole season, their big signing of Clayton Oliver has been a godsend with that injury. So he just takes Tom Green's role. I saw enough to see that he might get back, probably not to his best that we saw multiple years ago, but I think he does get back to his best at some point. They had a lot of players missing. Sydney are a great side. They pretty much got smashed in this game. And yeah, I don't know. 83 Supercoach is all right, but it's probably not enough to pick.
Yeah, and you got to take into account all these players, all these scores and performances that it was underwater. So the game here was just really, really wet.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone saw that the change rooms after the game as well. They were flooding. So there was heaps of rain. Clary should have dominated. He had 18 touches, scored 83, which is pretty good on limited minutes. I think it was just over 60% game time. So he looks good this preseason, and it's definitely a left field pick if you wanted to go there. Harry Rouse and Tice people were looking at this year, hoping to step into the Tom Green's shoes and sort of have that main midfield role. He did on the weekend, had 15 CBAs. He looked all right, had 19 touches, scored just the 78. It's a watch, I think. Just see how I think Callahan's touch and go for this week. So Ralston and the next guy we're going to speak about, Canelio, I think both had pretty similar outputs on the weekend. I just want to see how they conform together in a real game. And with Callahan back, I want to see what those CBAs look like. And if the ceiling's there for me, really be interested.
Yeah, yeah. Callahan. If Callahan's back for round zero, and one of these guys gets the role, the other just is completely shut out. I would be very interested to pick the guy that gets the role. But if it's a sort of a to and fro and they might go 50-50 each on that, I don't know, the fourth midfield role. Once Callahan's back, then I don't want to touch either of them. So it's one I'm definitely going to watch for round zero. And yeah, target maybe the guy that gets it. Cog sounds like and looks like he's back to his best. So yeah, he's probably the one that might get that role. Callum Mills only took one kick in. Do we fade him at this point, Das? I know you're very hot on starting him. I quite like the pick, but only the 69 points. Is it just because it was wet? I don't know. Didn't get the
Yeah,
kick-ins.
I think the wet really didn't
What's
help
going on
him.
there?
Didn't take a mark, which is very Callum Mills like. He gets involved a lot. Sydney like to chip around the back and sort of change their angles there. He gets involved in a lot of those chains. They just couldn't do it in the conditions that they had. So, yeah, I think that the conditions just didn't really suit him. I wouldn't read too much into it. In saying that, he has been in and out of my side because other guys have popped up throughout the weekend that I've been really keen on, but I don't think he did anything to scare me off per se. So I do still like the Callum Mills pick. I also really like the Jai Sarong pick, Tice. He looked good in the wet. He did everything he needed to do, had 18 touches, took 4 marks, scored 79 Supercoach for 119k defender. That's exactly what you want. Just hope that he can get that spot come next week and keep it for round one. But from what it looks like at the moment, I think he will, and I think he's a lock in most of our sides.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's going to be a great cash cow for a lot of super coaches. The other thing to note is that Sydney were playing with a full strength side. I don't recall any big names that are missing that would hurt him. And it's just the fact that they played all these practice games. You have 7 on the bench. So 2 people need to drop out. So I don't think it's going to be Jai Sarong at this point after what he did on the weekend. Toby Green attended the most CBAs for the whole game and looked pretty good. Looked like he was back to, that midfield role and his capabilities in earlier in his career that we saw. Would you look at Toby Green?
Yeah, definitely. I'm really hot on it. I haven't spoken to you much about it, Tice, but I love it. I'm just so glad he's playing next week because I just need to see it in a real game. I know there's every chance that could have been a test in the practice match, and I don't want to read into that too much. And hopefully with Callahan back, he can see how it works properly. But he's shown in his younger years that he is a midfield bull at his best. So he's a pig in there. He racks up the touches, had 26 and 8 tackles. So it's what you want. As Ford eligible, he's around 440k. So I definitely wouldn't be scared off him at all, Tice. A couple of point of differences in the backline for either team, Tice. Nick Blakey or Lockie Ash. I know you're huge on Lockie Ash. Both took like majority of the kick-ins. Both scored all right. I mean, Ash had 81 and Blakey the 91. Obviously, conditions didn't really suit either of them. Would you be keen? Are you looking at either of them, or do you think there's better options for those prices? Or
I'm more keen on Ash after this game than I was before. I know he only dropped the 81, but with 6 kick-ins and Lockie Whitfield only getting 3, we know that there was that little transition towards Ash being the main kick-in taker last year, and the fact he still racked up 26 touches in the wet, albeit he did butcher it a little bit, but 22 kicks. I just really, really like what I see from Lockie Ash there. I'm going to have to try and find a way to get him in or get him in early. And then Nick Blakey. There's a bit more chat around Nick Blakey as well. 91 Supercoach. Really did like the fact that he got the most kick-ins. He had 5. Riley Bice had 4. That was out of a total of 11. So I do like that. I know you're pretty hot on Blakey as well. But yeah, you can't probably start Mills or Blakey. Would you now pick Blakey over Mills?
potentially, they're both strongly in my considerations. Mills is that slightly cheaper guy. So, I mean, I edged that way a little bit, but I really like both of them. Blakey, in the back half of last year, when Mills came into the side, his scores were astronomical. And I'll have to dig a little bit deeper into that and maybe put some stats out on our socials. But he finished off the year last year were really good when Mills is in the side. So it's definitely something that I'm looking towards. But again, he's a good intercept mark as well. And those conditions weren't really helping him. So hence the lower score, but you still take 91 most weeks. And then Charlie Curnow, Tice, probably the key guy who didn't help with the conditions. Kicked a couple goals, kicked a big goal from the centre square, but scored just a 37. I don't hate it, but this is just what you get from a key position player. He's pretty cheap, which is nice, but if you want to start him, just know you're taking that risk.
Yeah, definitely. But Sydney are a good outfit, so that could mean that he translates to some good scores. We know he's done that pretty well in the past at Carlton, who are definitely not a top end side. So, like Sydney are going to be. That's probably it for this game. Some other noticeable guys missing. Toby Bedford, if he's going to take any CBAs from anyone else. Josh Kelly, he's out for most of the year anyway. And Brent Daniels, he's back in the first few rounds. I'd be really keen on Brent Daniels. When he plays that more higher half forward or in a bit of the CBAs, it looks like he's going to transition to some pretty good scoring, but we'll have to wait a few rounds for that one. Let's move to the Lions and the Suns game, where the Lions got the wood over the Suns. This could easily be the grand final come season end. A lot of people are hyping up both of these teams. So this was a good game to watch and very much a shootout. Let's start with the Gold Coast side. We'll start with Zeke Hewland. Only dropped to 41. 14 touches. Did you see enough for him to start in your side?
Nah, he'd have to blow me away next week for me to consider him at that price. Tice, yeah, the DPP is nice, but just slightly shy of 200k. I'm not paying that for 41 SuperCoach points. So, nah, is he in your considerations at all?
Nah, he's probably on the fringe of the Gold Coast side as well. You'd have to wait and see if he's selected in round 0 and then see how he goes in a proper game as well. But I'm not sure that, he might not make it into that side. Christian Petrarca, highly spoken about on this podcast as one that we're both fading, but got the most CBAs for Gold Coast. He butchered the footy a fair bit. But had 24 disposals, 92 SuperCoach, had 9 clearances. Did you see enough for it to now be in your forward line in the SuperCoach?
There's just guys I like more than him. Had a decent stat line, but he's just a terrible user. It's just going to be hard for him to really translate that to big SuperCoach scores. So we saw last year he did score a lot of 90s, 80s, low hundreds. Like it's just the ball use sort of clips that ceiling a little bit, which is unfortunate. I just think we'll be able to find him a little bit cheaper than that low 500s that we've got now. A couple bad games, you'll be getting him under 500k. So I think that's what I'm going to be aiming with Petrarca. Are you looking at him at all, or the same boat, or?
I think it's hard to not look at him now with the fact that he got the most CBAs. The only other player that's going to come back into that midfield rotation is Matt Rao, which will be in the early parts of the season, but are you missing out on those scores with the great early run that Gold Coast have? Is it just the fact that they've got the early run? Petrarca's going to have the midfield to start the year. Bank the scores early before you then have to chase your tail later. That's what I'm considering, but I don't want to start 2 because I've got Noah Anderson currently. So I have to weigh up now. Do I drop Noah Anderson for Petrarca? I'm not sure. Maybe that's a way that I can go. But yeah, to and fro at the moment, I can see him in round 0, which is always a bonus. Lachie Neale had the most CBAs for the game and just looked unreal. A lot of people, I think, are just fading him because of the off-season stuff that happened in his personal life. And it looks like he's just gotten better. We're talking about one of the best players in the comp here being a pod option. You're so hot on Lachie Neale as well. Are you now even more sold on it?
Yeah, I'm really interested. The buy is frustrating, and that's probably the only thing holding me back right now. The price is really good. The uniqueness is obviously a big plus. I love that. And his ceiling is huge. His consistency is great. I really like the Neil pick. And from all reports, had a really big preseason and shown that in the last couple of games as well. So Yeah, well and truly on my radar, mate. That's for sure. Will Powell again had the role, Tice, in the 21 CBAs. I think if he didn't dominate, had 16 touches, scored just the 78 Supercoach, so did enough. But I think he's probably the one that gets pushed out once Rao does come back and might go back to that halfback or play a little bit on the wing. So I don't think he's done enough to justify a start in our Supercoach sides. Kitty Coleman went back to halfback after all of the media and the hysteria of him going to half forward, and we're worried we pick him, do we not? Now he played halfback twice, but he didn't get heaps of it. He had 14 touches, 58 Supercoach, wasn't used heaps going out of defence. Does it make you, are you more excited now because he is playing halfback? Does it worry you off because he didn't play that well? Where are you sitting with Kitty?
I'm more sold because he went to halfback. But it's worrying that he didn't rack up the pill without Dane Zorko as well. Like Dane Zorko didn't play. It looks like they were just going through Darcy Wilmot a lot. He obviously racked up the 27 touches. So yeah, I'm so glad I can watch it in round zero. But I'm really high on this pick because he's only 230k. We know what he did in that final a couple of years ago. Just blitz the first half, and that's his like potential. So I really like this pick. I just have to see it again in round zero, so I'm thankful for that. Before I commit there, Leo Lombard, he was really nice. Played up forward for Gold Coast. Kicked 3 goals as a high half forward against Brisbane, being one of the better sides, or probably the best side in the comp. I'm really sold on this pick, just to sit on my bench. Are you coming around to it now? I know you don't have him in your side.
He's in now. Yeah, he was one of the few
Okay.
changes I've made. So yeah, he looked so good. I had issues around scoring potential and job security, but both were pretty much answered over the last couple of weeks. So no, I'm very hot on Lombard now, and I think he's a lock for most sides. Jamara Ugle-Hagan, on the other hand, Tice, we both flirted with him throughout the preseason. He was okay. It's just going to take him a little bit of time to get back to his best. And I think throughout the preseason, there's been other sort of 200k to 300k forwards that have shown up and look to provide a lot more than Ugle-Hagan will. So I think he's one that we can watch for now, but not necessarily have to start. Billy Humphrey, again, another guy that people had their eyes on. Hoping he can get a few more midfield minutes, but just not the case, unfortunately. He had 16 touches, scored 75, kicked a nice goal, but yeah, I wouldn't be too keen on that one, Tice. Alex Davies had 21 CBAs, had a big midfield role. He showed last year that he can score big when given the role, and he's sort of slept on a little bit, but he's also usually that guy that just goes back to the VFL when that player that he's replacing comes back. So it's usually first in, first out with Gold Coast, and I'd be a bit worried going there. Are you interested at all?
Nah, not interested there. With Matt Real coming back, like if they're going to keep that Petrarca role, it could easily just be a straight swap for Alex Davies, and that's it, and call it a day there. So, yeah, he's at 350k as well. We didn't say enough for him to be picked in our Supercoach sides. From the Brisbane side of things, Lincoln McCarthy, there was some talk about him going to the back line. It didn't come to fruition. He played up forward, was really good, but yeah, he dropped to 82 Supercoach, but we're not picking that, I don't think, at 170 odd K. Just see if the backline role comes in round zero. And Zach Bailey actually had a lot of midfield time. 18 CBA is probably one that, I don't know, we didn't really see coming. Like we saw he got a few CBAs last year, but are they just sort of trialing him in there? Is it just trying to increase his contract, the trade value when it comes end of the year because he kind of wants out? Or is it just because McCluggage was out after the first half? I don't know. How do you see this happening, Das?
I think they're just trialing it. I think they want to add more strings to his bow and to the team's bow. And we know he can do it because he's done it before, but I think it's just getting those minutes in an official practice match. I don't see it being that high throughout the season. If we were confirmed with that, I would love the pick. But yeah, I think he'd be playing high half forward for most of the year. He's too good down there, and they have too many good midfielders who he'd have to push out if he were to be, that number one guy. So yeah, too many question marks for me. But that sort of sums up that game, Ty. So there's a few guys that we're missing. Rao we touched on. Dan Annable, one to note for those who are looking at him, didn't get picked, was named in the emergency. So he'll take a bit of time. He might be a downgrade option later in the year. Draper and Fort were also out for Brisbane. So that left look, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name. You know how I've been on this show, so no, I'm not going to bother. And yeah, Brainer and Zorko are out as well, but not much SuperCoach relevance there. So we'll move into a very SuperCoach relevant game. Tyson, your boys, the Richmond, come up against Melbourne. Look, there's a lot of players here, Tyson, but not a lot of game time to review. Game was paused obviously earlier in the game. A bit of lightning and then cancelled, called off. I think it was 8 minutes into the third quarter. So didn't get heaps of footy, but enough to have a few answers for a few players and some questions for others. But we'll jump into it. In terms of the Melbourne midfield, Windsor and Rivers top the CBAs for them, Tice. I want to jump straight into Windsor. He dominated. I know it is against you boys, and you know, you're not the strongest midfielder by any means, but he's got the role. That hasn't wavered at all. And now he showed on the weekend that he can dominate on that role and really score well. He's got 121 SuperCoach. Obviously, there's a lot of scaling involved in that, but had 15 touches in just over a half a footy. So are you interested there?
Yeah, very interested. I like the Windsor pick. Yeah, 90 Supercoach before the scaling, which, you know, that's just after half time. So that's really, really good to see. 15 disposals. I just love the fact that they persisted with this, and he dominated with it. So I'm very intrigued on the Windsor pick. But the only thing is that can you fit him in your side? He's that kind of awkward mid-price, especially if you're going for another player that we're going to get to in a bit in Lockie Blackston. And yeah, I don't know. You don't get to see him again because they're not playing round zero. I want to fit him in, but I'm not sure that I can. He is a second-year player or third year. I can't remember.
Fourth, I think now, yeah.
And yeah, well, there you go. It might be the time for him to break out. So someone's got to step up in that midfield. It looks like Caleb Windsor does, or Trent Rivers. Like both of them played so well. Both are defender eligible in SuperCoach. Both seem to be great options if they're going to keep this role.
I think I've really cooled off Rivers. I like the Windsor pick. It is a bit left field, but I think the role's there and it's a lot less risky. Obviously, Rivers is a lot more expensive and you need more from him. Windsor, you know, you get 75, 80 average and you made your cash and you can move him elsewhere. Rivers, you sort of want him to be a keeper at that price. So, and I think Windsor's just shown more. I want to be blown away by Rivers, but I just haven't been blown away by him yet. So I'm not as keen there. Cozzy Pickett was third in line at Melbourne, mate. Had 11 CBAs. That's enough for me. He's never going to be a full-time 80-90% CBA guy. He's too dangerous up forward for them not to use him there, but that's what you want. A nice little like 50-50 split. Do his damage in the midfield, go forward, kick a couple goals. He missed 3 on Friday. So, you know, he converts all those 3 in a normal game and his score reflects a lot better. So, yeah, didn't scare me off at all. You mentioned at the top of the pod that you now have to find a way to get him in.
Yeah, I saw enough there as well. For me to get him in on my team reveal, I didn't have him in and I was very heavy in the midfield, but I did state I was looking at. I needed to see the role, from Cozzy Pickett, which I saw enough to select at his price. Under 500k is great buying. Jack Steele had 11 CBAs as well. He's only just a bit more expensive than Cozzy Pickett. A lot of people are quite hot on this pick. Do you see a nice price for Jack Steele like being worth it? Or do you see him just maybe getting injured again or, you know, not getting enough of the pill as he dies off in his career?
Yeah, I just think that for 500k, you need him to be, he's a midfielder only, so you need him to be in that top. You want him to be a top 10 mid at that point if you're paying up for that guy. I just don't see him being in that top 10, top 15 category. So, yeah, that's why I wouldn't go there. Cozzy, on the other hand, forward eligible. I think there's every chance that he finishes the top 6 forward. So I just want to start with that at that price. So hence why, you know, I think Cozzy's a lot more appealing to people. From a Richmond side of things, Tice, Sam Grill, I think he didn't scare anyone off. Didn't have heaps of it. Didn't dominate by any means, but did a few really nice things. He likes to take the game on, breaks the lines. Had 11 touches. That as long as they pick him, I think he will do enough for us. The DPP is really handy. A few mid rookies really fell off the cliff this weekend, and it seems to be pretty light on in there. So just to be able to flip him into the midfield and start him on our midfield bench even, provide good DPP and good cover there, I really, really like. So here's someone that I'm pretty much locked away on now. Gibkiss, on the other hand, Tice, looked good. Like, he's a good player, and there's no doubt in that. From a Supercoach point of view, I think he'll struggle to get his hands on it. Just the 4 touches, that half, plays as that lockdown key back. Any interest? I mean, the rookies seem to be dying up by the minute, so we might have to come round 1, but I think it'll be a slow burn.
Yeah, I don't hate this pick though, still, because Noah Bolter was missing, and as soon as he's back, Josh Gibkiss goes back to that intercept role, which we saw a few years ago, and we saw that real potential, which is what we were buying for. So, look, if Noah Bolter comes back and that does occur, then yeah, Gibkiss we might have to jump back on. He will still be a slower burn in terms of the generating of cash, but one that I think has the good potential, and one I'll keep an eye on over the next weekend, as I believe they'll do another intra-club game. Sam Lawler got the equal most CBAs for Richmond Mids. We've got the role, Das. Is it just as easy to lock him away? He didn't convert it to massive scores. He did have the 15 touches. 11 were handballs, though. So did you see enough from Sam Lawler to pick him?
I saw enough. It's annoying we don't get to see him next week. But I think we spoke about in the last episode, Tice, that his upside, the upside of his pick is that he's so cheap that you don't need him to break out. I think his ceiling is he could be a top 8 forward, as a top 10 forward, as a pure time midfielder for Richmond.
Wow.
If he's dominating in there, but we don't need that from him. So if he does that, has 22, 24 touches, half of them or 3/4 of them are handballs, and he scores 80, that's fine. He'll turn to 400k, and we can move him to a top liner from there. So yeah, I still like the Lawler pick. I think he'll just even grow in that role as well. So I really like it. Are you still hot on it?
Yeah, still very hot on that. I just had to see the CBAs, and we did, and now, yeah, I think he's pretty much locked in my side unless I see something pop up next week. Sam Cumming was just sad to see the injury. Obviously didn't get a lot of game time, especially he was looking to take Taj Hotton's spot in the side since he's out for a few months. So we're hoping that Sam Cumming might be a decent downgrade option when he gets his time later on in the year, provided it's not a serious shoulder injury, which we don't know of yet. Xavier Lindsay, Das, I know you didn't want me to bring this guy up because you want to keep him all for yourself. Had kick-ins. He's a great user of the footy. What can you say about this? Like, had the 14 touches as well. I don't know. It was on track for 25 plus.
Yeah.
It was just nice to see. You might have talked me around.
Yeah, he really just skyrocketed himself into my calculations. He's a great kick. They love him there. They go to him there off halfback. They want him using the ball out of there. Takes the kick-ins, like you said, which is huge for his scoring. It's a 270k midfielder only. So, again, another one of those guys at an awkward price. But, I'm tempted. I'm really tempted, Tice. Similar price to Lawler. So, like I've currently got Lawler at my flex. So, I can easily just swap them. Where's the upside? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going there. I think Lindsay will be really consistent. I don't know if he'll have the ceiling of someone like Lawler, who can win games and break away and do huge things. But I really like the Lindsay pick. I think you'll be able to rely on him for 80, 90 most weeks with the role that he's got. So yeah, definitely one that's on my radar and could find his way. I've got him in a couple drafts, so that might scratch the itch per se, and just be able to cheer him on there might be good enough for me, but who knows. And probably the only guy that he's fighting with back there in terms of ball until Jake Bowie comes back is CJ. He showed a bit, Tice. He used his run and dash off halfback. He's just not a very good ball user. So had 15 touches. broke some lines. But yeah, I've warmed off. I've cooled off this pick. I was pretty hot at the start when Supercoach opened, but yeah, he's not in my calculations anymore.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, he definitely was there, run and dash off halfback, but yeah, I think I'm the same on that one. That's probably it for this game. The only other notable players missing are Jack Viney and Jai Cully. Jack Viney, I believe, has come back in mid-season, and Jai Cully should be ready round 3 to 4 stage. But does that affect Rivers, Windsor, Langford, any of those kind of guys? I'm not too sure at this point, but yeah, at least you'll have them for a fair few weeks before the role might change.
Might just jump in, sorry.
But let's move to
one guy I just wanted to touch on was Langford. I think a few people are looking at him as that sort of potential breakout. He looked okay. He did have midfield minutes and CBAs, but again, played a bit of wing as well. So just if you were looking at him, I don't think at that price he's sold me in any case. He didn't, but if you are also keen, then I don't think he scared you off at all. But yeah, he didn't blow me away, and I think the role's too 50-50 for me to be super sold on Harvey Langford. But now we can move on, mate. We'll go to the Dogs and the Hawks to I think it was finish off Friday night's games. We'll start with the Dogs and one guy who we did a write-up on our socials, and we're both really hot on as a 245k forward. Tice Connor Butterick played halfback all day, had 22 touches, took a kick in, which is huge. We love kick-ins. Scored pretty well. I can't remember 75. I think he scored. I can see that. So you'll take that for his price. I think the role's really nice. Got his hands on the ball a fair bit. Was used off halfback a little bit. Is he in your side at the moment?
No, he's actually not in my side. I'm not sold that he keeps the role. He was the mix of Mr. Fix-It at Gold Coast. He played a lot of different roles, and he's going to a side that has Bevo as the coach. We know he likes to throw things around. So if he is guaranteed halfback, it is such an easy pick. I'm locking that in, but I can't guarantee that he is halfback, especially when Bailey Dale does come back into this side. So that's kind of the only points that are scaring me at the moment. But if he plays halfback, he'll probably have an 80 average, and yeah, that'll make you a nice 150k. But yeah, I just need to know that it's going to stay when Bailey Dale returns. Are you thinking the same, or am
I think you're overthinking it? He sort of moved because he wanted to go back to his preferred position, halfback, and from all reports, Doggy's offered him that. So they recruited him to fill this role. I think they'll stick with him for now. So, yeah. Lockie Bramble, so for example, last week in the unofficial game, Lockie Bramble played the VFL practice match. I know he played on the weekend, but I see them as sort of fighting out for the same position, and Butterick might be slightly ahead at this point. So if that's anything to go by, Bramble was a good pick last year and scored all right to start the year when he went to the Dogs. So I like it. He has got some competition back there. Like you said, Bailey Dale, Jack's rookie, 119k, I believe. Had 16 touches, didn't use it all that well, but he's just, I think, a lock for most of our sides now.
Yeah, we get to see what he does in round 0. It's the same with Butterick as well. We get to see what happens in round 0, which is always good. Michael Selwood, another one that they played. He looked all right, had 13 touches. He's probably rivaling Jax for the spot. But if I'm going based off what I saw, I think I'd pick Jax over Selwood at this point. But just see what the Dogs do in round 0 before we commit to either of those. In the ruck, though, Tim English. I have spoken very highly of Tim English, and I think it's Grundy 1, English 2 to finish the year as an early call. And yeah, he dropped 141 Supercoach. He definitely showed why he was so good back in 2023, I believe it was. Are you now sold on Tim English or not?
Yeah, I'm even more sold now than I was before, Tice. I was sort of cooling on it. I wasn't as hot as you were, but he looked every bit of the part and every bit of back that he was in that 2023 season. We know how much he dominated Supercoach-wise in that year. So it looks like these new ruck rules have really suited his game. And if he can go anything back to the form that he was that year, he will just be locked away in that, R1, R2 come season's end. So And like you've said a few times, Tice, on the channel, he's 70k cheaper than those other top end guys. So because there's so many question marks, I think it could be easier just to save the 70k and start with an English because he looks so good at the moment and just ride with that. But I still like Grundy and I don't want to have both of them. So I guess we get a look at both of them this weekend as well, which is nice. But I do really like the Tim English pick.
Yeah, I like the fact we get to look at both. At a lot of rucks come round zero as well, so bit to take out of today's game with Cherry and Cameron going head to head as well. But we'll get to that when we get to that game. Yeah, he was 50-50 on the hitouts between him and Lloyd Meek as well. So it just showed that Tim English was getting around the ground. He had 23 touches, kicked a couple of goals too. So he was just running Meek amok. From the Hawthorn side of things, John Newcomb had the most CBAs for the game. This is a pod pick I'm very interested in. 132 SuperCoach, 28 disposals. He's going to lead from the front, being the new co-captain. He's very cheap as well, 515k. I'm really, really coming around to this as well. But how many midfielders can I start?
Yeah, you're on your own on this one, mate. Not for me. I can't do it. Can't do it. That's it.
No, that's fair. I get, yeah. I don't know. I might just have to wait and see on the Newcomb pick, and I do like it. I'm happy to upgrade to him at some point.
Yeah, he has these games where like he shows what he can be. I think his biggest issue is that he's like the only midfielder there, and he gets tagged out of games. So, like he just gets tagged heaps, and he shouldn't because he's not really that type of player. But they've got no one else in there. And like if you stop Newcomb, you stop the rest of their midfield, and it seems to have been an issue of his, especially early last year. Got tagged out of games once Day went down. So yeah, he's a really good player, and if he could keep that consistency up, he's got the ceiling. But yeah, the price is tempting, but yeah, I'm not interested at the moment. Sicily Tice had 20 touches, like the role was there, but the role with Sicily is never locked in, unfortunately. So I think it's one like just not really on our calculations anymore with the addition of Josh Battle, Tom Brass, those sort of guys in that back line. He's just not the same Supercoach pig that he used to be. Adam Treloar didn't play this game, Tice, but one to keep an eye on. Played managed minutes in the VFL, so I know he was in a lot of people's sides when Supercoach opened. Then he left a lot of people's sides when he got injured yet again. But in an interview, he said he was trying to be ready for round 0, but should be ready for round 1. So yeah, he's there. He'll probably be playing. And we'll just have to wait and see. It'd be nice if he's there from round 0 so we can have a look at him, but I don't know. I don't know what to think about Treloar. Is he on your radar?
He's on the radar, but if he comes in, he's just going to play that half forward. Like another player that we're going to touch on, we'll move to him now anyway, but is Joel Frazier, who's playing that half forward role. He can't even break into that midfield. They were talking about him breaking into that midfield, playing full-time mid. It was just Bont, Richards, Kennedy, and Libba. They were the main 4. And then Frazier only had 7 CBAs, whereas, Bont and Richards were having 27, 25 CBAs. So, yeah, that role is gone from Joel Frazier. I just feel like it's going to be the exact same when Adam Treloar comes into this side. They're moving to those 4 guys as the main 4. So, yeah, I'm an easy fade on Joel Frazier. At this point, if the role changes, I can then look to upgrade him. I don't think he's going to score amazingly without the role. So he's not going to balloon up in price. Connor McDonald played lots of forward time last week in the unofficial game, but had the equal third most CBAs behind Nash and Newcomb, who we know are locked into that Hawthorn midfield. Did you see enough to pick Connor McDonald? There was a bit of talk about him training as a midfielder during the preseason. We're seeing it in this game now. Can you see him being a top forward?
Not really. I just haven't seen enough. I don't mind it, but he's just too expensive, I think. At 380k, it's a really awkward price. If he was like low 300s, high 200s, I think it'd be worth a punt. But again, like we always talk about, you want to make like 100 to 150k from these guys if they're not a keeper, and I don't see him being a keeper. And to make 100, 150k, he's going to have to score pretty well, which I can't be certain on either of those. So I'm pretty happy to let this one through to the keeper. Tice, in the role, obviously there's a question mark around there as well. So, yeah, I'm not super sold on Connor McDonald. Sam Butler, another one who we're kind of hoping they might get some midfield time. I think he's about 190k as an option for Hawthorn, but played up forward, kicked a couple of goals. He looked okay. He's a good player, but you'd be picking a small forward there at an elevated price. So probably another one you can just let through. I think there's enough forward options at the moment to not have to worry about that. Bailey McDonald is there. See if he gets a game, but didn't blow anyone out of the park. Had 12 touches, 35 Supercoach. But again, another one of those intercepting defenders, that sort of third tall defender that Hawthorn have abundance of. So I don't see him breaking out and scoring huge scores or even getting a game. So just wait and see. And then Josh Ward, for those who were sort of hoping for a breakout season for Josh Ward. He only had the 9 CBA, so form below Connor McDonald. So I think that's one that you can fade at this point and not have to take that risk on.
Yeah, even Josh Weddle and Cam McKenzie already had more CBAs than him. So in this game, so yeah, I think it's an easy fade on Josh Ward at this point. In terms of the notable players that we're missing, we also mentioned Treloar and Bailey Dale. Amon was missing from this game, but no one really took that distribution role off halfback and shone to be of Supercoach relevance. So won't be any tricks played there. Barras didn't play in this game, so is that just a straight swap for Bailey McDonald, like you were alluding to before? We'll have to wait and see. And then, yeah, Will Day obviously out for an extended period of time. And then for the ruck stocks at Hawthorn, Ned Reeves was named as the emergency. So, yeah, it looks like he's definitely not in favour for the ruck spot. Let's move to the Saints and Bombers game. And yeah, the Saints got the wood over the Bombers. It was an all right game. Told us a lot of things, and there's one big talking point that we'll need to get to through this game. But we'll start with Mateus Philippou. Had the midfield role. Love this. We just need to lock this in. It's so easy to pick at his price, 160k. Had 8 clearances, which was massive. 85 super coach, 29 disposals. It's just an easy to lock him away, Das.
Yeah, lock him away, no questions asked. I'd almost wish he wasn't playing around 0, so couldn't risk another injury. But no, you just lock him away. There's no questions need to be had there. He'll push top 10 forwards for sure by the end of the year. He's just that classy of a midfielder. St Kilda's rucks, Tice, it was a pretty even split. Tom De Koning is that main guy. Takes the majority of the centre bounces, but Marshall does take a lot of ruck contests around the ground. So TDK with a 52 ruck contests and Marshall with 35. So yeah, TDK is the favoured guy, but Marshall has his fair share. But it's just too close to me. It's too shared for either of them to be an option. Rowan Marshall, one that you could almost consider later in the year if he does become a forward. Like, how does that happen? How does that, if the ruck share stays the same? He scored pretty well on the weekend with 94. You'd expect him to get forward DVP, but I wouldn't be starting either of those guys. Dyson Sharp, Tice, from an Essendon side of things, we're kind of hoping for that big midfield role, but he didn't get it. Just the 1 CBA. Played high half forward for most of the day. I know you're hot on him. Does it make you scared off a little bit?
Yeah, I wasn't like fully sold on him. I was just thinking that he would get a few CBAs. And yeah, it just didn't come to fruition. So it's definitely one I could easily fade, especially because he's at that elevated price. If one of the midfield rookies are pretty dire though, so I might have to pick him. If someone pops up at 119k, I'm probably just going to pivot to them and pass on Dyson Sharp. He did have 63 super coach, which is still good scoring from 15 disposals. So, I saw enough to pick him, but I'm not sold at this point. Zach Merritt, however, only had the 10 CBAs here, Das. You're a massive Merritt man, and does that scare you off at all?
Yeah, a little bit. It scared me watching. I'm not going to lie to you, Tice. Playing full forward is not what you want to see for a guy that you're picking as your point of difference midfielder to sort of set you apart from the pack. So, yeah, definitely scared me. He's still on my side, yes, but I'm shaking in my boots. I'm not going to lie to you. I can't. There's too many question marks now. I don't know. Everyone warned me of this when I picked him. And I know it's just a practice match. I don't want to read too much into it because there's every chance I don't pick him and then he goes back to the merit of old and I've just missed him. But yeah, it is scary. Parrish's role, on the other hand, though, Tice, was no questions there. Most CBAs for Essendon, had 21 touches, looks pretty good. Just that, an under midfielder that we know him to be, has scored 76. Isn't getting involved in huge amounts of transition, which could be an issue this season. But I think he showed last week that his best is still there or thereabouts. So I think it's a pretty easy punt to take at 300k.
Yeah, you definitely can't knock that. He only needs to get like an 80 to 85 or 85 average to make 100k, 120k. So, yeah, that's all that you need out of him. And as a main midfielder, being the main guy, as it looks, it should be a breeze for him throughout the whole season. But yeah, that's easy to lock him away. I'm more than happy with what I saw. Jack Carroll, 17 touches, played off the back line for the Saints, had 60 SuperCoach. That's enough for me at 119k. Pretty much did the same as Dyson Sharp, obviously different roles and that kind of stuff, but is that 30k cheaper? And that's I'm happy to save 30k to get the same output. So yeah, I like the Jack Carroll pick. Does he keep it come next week? I'm not sure. Does he go out for Jack Silvani if they want to play a bit taller? Did Windhager do enough? Who we'll get to dominated this game. Yeah, I don't know. Are you sold on Jack Carroll?
If he's playing, he's in my team. Yeah, for sure. Like we're mentioning a few times, midfield rookies are getting, very sparse. So if he's playing with that role, I want him. And just hope he gets picked for round one. Fingers crossed, get picked next week, plays well, and keeps that spot for round one. So, he's definitely on my radar and in my team at the moment. Sam Flanders is just, probably the biggest lock in Supercoach. If it's not him, it's Philip. If it's not Philip, I don't know who else. Maybe Sheasel. We'll get to him. But there's only a few guys that I think are up in Flanders' ilk at the moment. And yeah, you just lock him away. Second most CBAs, had 27 touches, scored 95. Took 7 marks. So yeah, he's that guy for St Kilda. Well, not that guy. We'll get to that guy. But Jacob Farrow didn't blow anyone away, unfortunately. Used the ball well when he got it. Didn't have heaps of it though. So had 11 touches. 3 of them were kicks, 8 handballs, 52 Supercoach. Just hope he gets picked. If he gets picked, he's still on my radar. I just think he has enough class there that he'll be able to score well enough in Supercoach, or just, be a slow burn on the bench. But it's just the job security, I think, there that we need to watch out for. Archie Roberts, Tice, got that midfield role at 16 CBAs, 29 touches. Does that interest you at all?
It does. He got that midfield role. I don't know. Do we like the midfield role more than the halfback role for Archie Roberts?
I'm not really sure. I like the halfback role just as much. Like, it's a lot easier. You need to be a good midfielder to score well. You don't really need to be that good to be a good halfback and score well. So, I'm not. I know a few people hold on Archie Roberts, but I don't see it. So, on an Essendon side that might struggle at times throughout the year, and he's probably the third or fourth best midfielder. So, yeah, I'm not that keen there. He's Ruckman, on the other hand, Tice Blackiston started the game like a house on fire. He really, Supercoach-wise, was just dominating from day dot. Sort of slowed up towards the back end. Gave away a few free kicks. I think it was 4 free kicks against, and just silly ones as well. A couple inside 450. So, but he's just learning the ruck craft at the moment. So, I think he is a really good pick. It's awkward, 280k as a defender, but he'll get that ruck DPP. I think he'll be pretty good consistently, like 80s, 90s. I think you can. I know you're hot on him. He wouldn't have done anything to scare you off him.
No. Like you said, he's learning the ruck craft. He attended, he was coming up against Tom De Koning and Roel Marshall, some premium ruckmen, and I just wanted to see him compete, and compete he did. He pretty much matched him for hitouts, matched Tom De Koning for hitouts, and had a few more ruck contests. I was very, very sold on what I saw there. He's definitely done enough to lock him away on my side. The next guy we're going to touch on, I'm not sure if I can fade him anymore. Just dominated this game, had the most CBAs for St Kilda, and rested forward. And when he was resting forward, he kicked 4 goals. So I definitely need to reconsider this pick in Nasai Wangani-Malera. Um, yeah, I'm so sold on Jack Sinclair. I just need to find a way that that buy round isn't going to kill me, because I think I have to play both.
Tyce, you were this close to convincing me not to start Naz, and you just didn't get there. He is too good. He's too good. Yeah, he's a lock now. There's no questioning it. I know it was against Essendon and he got no attention, but still, he just shows that if he gets attention, he can go forward and kick goals. So, yeah, he is a star for sure. There's no questioning that. Windtaker Tyce had a pinch hit in the midfield, but then drifted back and played most of the day off halfback. Had 41 touches, just had the ball in the string. I wouldn't be going there Supercoach wise, but it's just something to keep in mind that he has got that halfback role now. Does that affect the Jack Carroll? Does it affect the Sinclair? Not 100% sure. I don't think so, but it's interesting that role change. So he's played a bit on the wing, played a little bit inside last year, but now he's made that move to halfback and seems to have found his home, and he's playing really good footy there. So, yeah, I don't think there's someone you can look at in Classic. Zach Johnson is an interesting one, Tice. He was sort of the general back there for Essendon, scored 102, had 24 touches, took a few kickouts. With Archie Roberts moving in the midfield, is it Zach Johnson's ball back there now? I think he's at 270k. I don't have it in front of me, but could he be a breakout player that's sort of flown under the radar throughout the whole preseason?
Yeah, definitely. If I think the main thing is that if Archie Roberts goes into the midfield, it frees up that back line. Obviously, Andy McGrath will run off that back line. But Zach Johnson, I really, really like as the general down there as well. Yeah, 273k defender. Yeah, it's an option, but you've got a lot of really good prices, really good players around that price. In the defence, which we've touched on, like Caleb Windsor, Lockie Blackiston being one of them, and now you got to throw in Zach Johnson. I'm not sure that we can. We probably haven't seen enough to be able to pick him. Maybe if he dominates the first 2 rounds and the roles stay, then yeah, maybe we can pivot to him on the back of those. So yeah, it's probably an easier to wait and see on the Zach Johnson pick. Ridley's also out, so that and didn't play this game. That could change when Ridley comes back. Is Ridley just going to get injured again? Probably, but yeah, that's. I think that's just there's too many balls in the air for Zach Johnson to continue this role that it's just easier to not start him. That's probably it for this game. Some notable players that were missing: Jack Silvani, which we touched on. Yeah, maybe does he take Carroll's spot if they want to play a bit taller? And with Windhager doing so well, he could just play that halfback role with Sinclair. Vigo Vicentini was an emergency. That's great for Lockie Blackston's job security, I think. Peter Wright's just going to play that second ruck when Blackston needs a rest. So, yeah, that sells me. And then Nick Bryan's obviously out for a few weeks, probably back around 4 or 5. If Blackston's just going to improve from what we saw today, I'm even more sold on this. And then, yeah, Jordan Ridley I did touch on as missing. But that's probably it for this game. A lot of Supercoach relevance in this game, so it was good to see a lot of these guys play, and we obviously get to see St Kilda again next week, which is good. Let's move to the Freo and Adelaide game. We'll start with Hayden Young. Your boy Das had the most CBAs for Freo in this game. It's just an easy lock away, I think, at this point. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, there's no questioning it now. Look, I know there's question marks around his body, but he's only really had body issues last year. I was going back the other day, played 20 plus games in his last 3 years before that. So, if he gets his body right now, hopefully he can keep that throughout the whole year and play a full season. Roles there. He's a class act. Missed 2 shots at goal, so score 116 Supercoach. Could have easily been more. So he's the one we can lock away. Another one I feel like we can lock away now, Tice, is Lockie McAndrew. Has been given the keys to that Adelaide midfield in terms of the ruck contests ahead of Riley O'Brien, and he showed why on the weekend. Had 33 hitouts, 10 touches, 6 tackles, scored 91 Supercoach in doing so. I think you just got to lock him away.
Yeah, I love this. Riley O'Brien was named as in emergency, so Lockyer McAndrew was favourably named as the number one ruckman. They had Murray there playing as the second ruck, but yeah, McAndrew attended 76 out of 99 ruck contests. I'm so sold on this that you could easily play him on field. I'm playing him at R2 because then you can wait and see on how the new rules affect the ruck scoring throughout the year before you commit to your second ruckman. So that's just a win for me. Josh Rochelle had the most CBAs for the entire game, had 18 disposals, 90 Supercoach. I quite like this pick. I'm coming around to it. The only other thing to note was that Isaac Rankin wasn't playing in this game. Does that affect his CBAs? Jace Aligo wasn't even playing. We know that he's recovering from an irregular heartbeat, so hopefully he's all right. But yeah, if either of those come back, does that affect Rochelle's role? Do you think?
If Sligo does, it definitely does. I don't know about Rankin. Yeah, I am on it. Sligo's injury or absence is so like grey at the moment that if he was gone for the season, it'd make me a lot more keen. But if he could be back in 2 weeks' time, then you pushing Rochelle back forward, then it could be a bit of a red flag. So, yeah, if we get some clarity on that, it would be nice. But we'll have to sort of wait and see. We get to watch him next week, I believe. So, yeah, that'll be huge. And if he's playing as a midfielder, I like it. I think he's a really classy player. So, yeah, and touches, the role's definitely there. From Freo Tice, Tobin Murray is a rookie that a few people have looked at throughout the preseason. He had 7 touches, kicked a goal, looked okay. Just a 46 super coach. So, if you're desperate, he is there. Braden Cook from Adelaide here had 11 touches, lined up on a wing for most of the day. So, there was sort of rumours and murmurs that he'd be pushing off half back and making that switch. It didn't really occur, which is disappointing, which would have been a really nice Supercoach friendly role. But wing's not too bad, especially he is mid-eligible. So if he's getting a game, he definitely skyrockets into calculations, I think, just because of the lack of midfielders there. But a little bit of an elevated price. Another big talking point out of this one, Tice, was the ruck split for Freo. So Jackson just well and truly didn't just played as that second ruck. So Cox took 60 of the 99 contests and Jackson took just 39 of them. I think Jackson attended 4 CBAs from what I saw as a midfielder. So he's that second ruck. He's not playing as a sole ruck, even without Sean Darcy. We know those points last year, Sean Darcy went down. Jackson was the number 1 ruck and just dominated. You're not going to get that with Jackson this year. He's not going to be the number 1 ruck, which is disappointing if you were looking at starting him. I think there's too many risks now and question marks at 611k for me to be starting Luke Jackson.
Yeah, 76 Supercoach. Yeah, it looks like he's not locked into that midfield role. He's not locked into that ruck role. He's a mix of both, mix of forward. I think they're just going to throw him around a lot. It's probably easier to fade Jackson at this point. The no early buy is the main appealing part and why a lot of people are going to start him. But yeah, 611k, yeah, I don't know. It's easier just to fade. I was hoping we saw a bit more midfield time as an on-baller. But yeah, I didn't see enough for me to be sold on him. Hugh Bond from Adelaide.
Sorry, can I just jump in, Tuss?
Yeah.
There is a few memos going around that Cox is that favoured number 1 ruck ahead of Sean Darcy now. Is it a crazy world? 220k ruck forward. Is there any way?
Oh, yeah. Is that true? Like Sean Darcy is coming back from an injury, played on managed.
He's always coming back from an injury. He's always playing on managed minutes.
I know. But I think with the 3 of them, it's too hard to select the right one. Mason Cox obviously is that depleted price. And yes, it could be nice and could pay off massively if he is number 1 ruck. But how are you going to know he's going to be number 1 ruck? You don't see them in round 0. You'd have to pick it pretty early in the season when you have to adjust your rookies and all that kind of stuff. Is Mason Cox someone that you could adjust to? Are you just going to wait and see on him, or are you sold enough to pick him?
I'm not sold at all. It's just a funny one. I don't know. Like, if Sean Darcy went down, I think it's a really interesting pick. No one would do it just because it's Mason Cox, but I think it's funny. He could he's always been a decent ruckman, and like he scored 85 yesterday, so he can score as in one ruck. So, yeah, just something to keep an eye on.
You just want to do it because it's
It's
funny.
just funny. I just think it'll be funny. Good DPP, and it is cheap. It's pretty risk free, 220k. Anyway, Hugh Bond Tice played as a defender, as he did a little bit at times last year. Had 14 touches. I think he's a bit of a classy footballer. I really like what I see from Bond when he comes into the side. 167k is a bit frustrating, a bit sort of awkward. So I think there's better options, but if you're desperate, yeah, there's another guy there for you. A really disappointing one, Tice, from the weekend was Chase Jones, just 5 touches in a full game playing on the wing. We're kind of hoping that he'd locked that wing spot in, 119k mid, but yeah, he played terribly. So hopefully they don't read too much into the packing match and he still has that spot, but we'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully he plays well in round 0. And then the last one I wanted to touch on, Tice, was Murphy Reed.
Sorry, the only other thing is that they don't play round 0. They're playing round 1, so you don't get another look. I don't think that we can pick Chase Jones based off this performance. 5 touches in a whole game is just not what you want, especially being the only hit out we see. If we see him, looking like he's racks up 20 disposals in an intra-club come next week or something like that, maybe we then go back to it, but it's not enough. I didn't see enough to be able to pick him at this point. Sorry, Dust.
No, that's all right. No, fair enough. 34 Supercoach in a full game is not what you want. Even with like depleted mid rookie stocks, it's going to be hard to justify that. Murphy Reed, the last one, Tice, had 7 CBAs, had 30 touches, and 102 Supercoach. He's just a classy footballer. I probably wouldn't go there in Classic, but I think he has every capability to be a full-time mid one day and really break out and be a star of the competition. I don't think his huge Supercoach relevance is there yet, but it will be one day, and he's just a pleasure to watch at this stage.
Yeah, he's 370k as a forward. I'd rather pick Rochelle over Murphy Reed from a Supercoach point of view, just because I think I'm going to get more out of that midfield role. Worst case, Rochelle is going to go back to the same role that Murphy Reed has and then provide the same scoring output. So if you're tossing up between either of those, or you're thinking you're going Murphy Reed, not Rochelle, I think I'm going to say go Rochelle over Murphy Reed. That's probably it for this game. Adelaide were very depleted. They had a lot of people missing. We've touched on Riley O'Brien being named as emergency. Rankin's missing. Isaac Cummings out for the first few rounds. That's why we were hot on Chase Jones and Cook playing on that wing, but yeah, they didn't do enough. Hinge is out. Does he just come back in for Hugh Bond? Not sure. Jake Saligo, we've obviously said, is out. Sam Berry, James Peatling, and Dan Curtin are all out. So or at least didn't play this game. So a lot of changes are going to come to this Adelaide side. So it's pretty hard to pick what roles are going to stay. But let's move to the North versus Pies, Das. You would have obviously watched this game, being your boys. You don't miss a Collingwood game, so you might have a lot more input on this one. But let's start with your boy, who played on the opposition, LDU. He just looked unreal. This might actually be the year he breaks out, and it might be the year you don't pick him. If you don't pick him, I think he breaks out.
Yeah, I think he breaks out then. I just can't pick him. I think there's too much bias involved. If I do, I like it. For someone out there wanting to take a risk, 520k, I think it's good buying. No early buy, it's really nice as well. He's just moving a lot better than he has in years gone by. It's always been my one pet hate with him, is he's been a bit slow and lazy, but he's running on top of the ball, been really clean. So, yeah, I like it, but it is a big risk because we know he can go missing in games with the points I just touched on then. Moving on to my actual boys' ties, Josh Dacos, definitely someone who's flirting with my team. Just the 2 CBAs, which was interesting. Took a lot of kickouts, which was nice. So you know that if he doesn't have the midfield role, he does just go to halfback, which is also good. But I just think today we were testing things in the midfield, and I still think Josh will have the majority of the say in there with Nick and Ned Long this season. So I wouldn't read too much into the role today, and I still think there's he's a viable Supercoach option as a midfielder, and expecting that breakout with that new role. Roan Steele, Tice, 190k midfielder was one that I was actually really keeping an eye on. He's got that wing role unlocked. He looked good early. He does some really nice things, but his game just has never really translated to Supercoach that well. Scored 52, had 11 touches. I don't think he's going to be scoring enough to justify the high price tag, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. It looked really good in the first quarter, and I was about to get him into my side, but didn't do too much after that. So, I'm happy to pass on Steele for now. We get to see it around 0, which is what I like to see because Craig McRae looks like he's just throwing stuff around to see what he has in his arsenal. A lot of different players went through that midfield, did kick-ins, all that kind of stuff. So once we see a proper game from Collingwood, we get to see more of the roles clearer. So we'll see if Josh Dacos does get that midfield time. The ruck battle, though, was very, very interesting. We actually had 2 of the top rucks going head-to-head. Tristan Cherry, it just showed that the new ruck rules, he lost his tackles and those extra disposals that he'd usually get with the contested work, less stoppages around the ground. So I think Tristan Cherry is going to be hampered a lot by these ruck rules, but he has a really good ruck run to start the year. DCAM definitely won the ruck battle in terms of the hitouts. Is good enough around the ground to be a viable option in Classic. So are you looking at either of these two?
DCAM a little bit, but not heaps. I think you hit the nail on the head. One tackle from Tristan Cherry is just very out of character, and him losing that, it goes a long way, and losing a lot of his Supercoach points. So, yeah, there's enough red flags for me to be able to fade him early. I hope he gets back to his best because we love a fit and firing and dominating Tristan Cherry, but I'm a bit worried at this stage. Lockie Doverston surprised me, Tice. He's a bit of a live wire up there. Seems to have fit in really well with that North Melbourne lineup, and is adjusting well to AFL levels. So had 14 touches, kicked 3 goals, and looked good. Scored 99 Supercoach. So again, a bit of an elevated price, but I don't mind it. Small forward, so you'll get that fluctuating score. But the ceiling's there from a guy who only kicked 3 goals and had 100 Supercoaches is really, really nice. Zane Dersma have scored 48, had 13 touches. Yeah, I'm just not going there. I don't know the role. He plays a bit of half forward, a bit of half back. And it's just a bit of a what if sort of player. So who knows? Harvey Harrison is one that I've been really hot on, Tyson. I texted you about 8 minutes into the game telling you that I've locked him into my side. And now coming into the game, he's probably going to make way for someone. Just the 25 Supercoach in a full game. He looks really clean. He's so good below his knees, pushed up the ground well, and has really good hands, but just didn't get in the game enough to justify a Supercoach selection at this point, and especially because the Leo Lombards of the world broke out on the weekend, and a justifying selection. Todd Marshall, who we'll get to again, like those sort of guys. There's a few forward rookies. Dev Robinson solidified himself. So there's guys there that you just have to pick. So I think Harvey Harrison will have to make way, unfortunately. Dan Houston, Tice, had 25 touches, took a few kickouts. We were just using him and using his foot skills. Are you looking there?
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, to be honest. I like the fact watching this game. Well, I watched the first half and all the play went through him. And we might be getting the Houston of old back. I like the fact that we get to see it again in round 0. That 86 Supercoach, it just didn't transition to, what I thought I was seeing. 430k, however, is just, if you know that he's going to be that main halfback role, because Josh Dacos is moving into the midfield, that's when I actually want to pick Dan Houston. If Josh Dacos is playing off halfback, I think he's just going to take too much ball from him, take the kick-ins, all that kind of stuff. So I do want the Josh Dacos move into the midfield. I know you want it to pick Josh Dacos. I want it to pick Dan Houston at this point. 430k, I think is great buying. We know that he's a Supercoach pig off halfback.
I think it was blowing a gale, out there. And I think that sort of just affected his ball use. So had a lot of kicks, but just didn't hit his targets as much as he has done, and we know he can do. So I think that hampered his Supercoach scoring a little bit. playing in big grounds like the G and under the roof at Marvel and those sort of things, he won't have those same sort of weather impacts. So I still think the upside's there with Houston, especially if Dacos does go in the midfield. Like you said, he'll have to be the guy that we use off halfback as much as we can. Couple rookies, Tice, Time Printable played just a quarter for the Pies. Test him as a midfielder in that last quarter. He looked good, but he won't get picked up next week, and hopefully it provides an option throughout the year. Sam Swadling likewise just played the last quarter. Bo McCreary is being used throughout the midfield. Looks really good in there, and as a Collingwood supporter, I'm really keen for that. But yeah, as a super coach option, it's not really there. He's 314k forward. And we had no Pendles, no to Goey. So if you were keen on McCreary up, I wouldn't go there. Sullivan, on the other hand, Tice, I think he's a star, and he's really breaking out. Had 24 touches, 20 CBAs, 99 Supercoach. It's just another one of those defenders in that awkward price range that we can consider.
Yeah. 314k as a defensive mid DPP is nice, but yeah, it's just, is he going to do enough in the midfield in his second year at 314k? I mean, he's almost the same price as Sam Lawler. We're not comparing them as pick one or the other. I'm just saying, like, who do you think is going to break out more? Who's going to have the better time in the midfield? I think Finn O'Sullivan's probably, he's probably not the top 3 mid in the North camp. So I just feel like they were trialing him in there because it's a practice match. It's not for points. I feel like they're going to use him in there, but it's not going to be to this extent, not 20 CBAs that we saw. I don't know. Do you disagree with that? Are you looking at Finn O'Sullivan as a pick?
Yeah, he's probably a 5% chance, but I think he's in their main rotation. I think that Sheasel, LDU, and him at this stage. I don't know if I'm missing someone that he might be ahead of him. I mean, George Wardlaw will be there, but who knows with his body. I think he's in that main rotation, I admit. I think he's overtaken the likes of Tom Powell, Luke Parker, those sort of guys. Luke Parker played a little bit off halfback today, so there's other roles for him, and Foss has been playing as that inside mid all preseason. So I don't hate it. It's again just not a good price, and we've mentioned these guys before, but Blackiston, Kitty Coleman, Caleb Windsor, like those sort of types, all around the same price. Who you want to pick? I like Foss, but I don't know if I like him more than those other guys. Harry Sheasel, I mentioned before, he's just a lock. 142 Supercoach, 33 touches. He looked incredible. Tyson might fade him just for a bit of fun, but I think everyone should lock him away. He was so good. Lipinski also had 17 CBAs. Tyson, yeah, I think it's just from the players missing. He has been training a little bit as an inside mid, but I think it's just to add a string to his bow and just see what he can do. But he looked good today. But yeah, I wouldn't be going there with the return of DeGoey and Nick and Pendles and stuff. But the big talking point out of this one, Tice, was Bulamirez. I'm probably pronouncing his name wrong as well. But he's a 99k SSP selection who got picked up, I think, like Tuesday or something. Won the the breakout best young player in the VFL last year, and had 24 touches. Played off halfback, looked really good. Scored, I think it was 87 Supercoach. I think he's just a lock. If he's playing round 1, you just lock him away.
Yeah, like you said, running off halfback is always a great option. Just no matter the price of the rookie, and yeah, but I don't know. It's hard to pick if he's ahead with McKercher not playing in this side. Does McKercher is it a straight swap for McKercher when he's available? And it sounds like he's going to be available for round 1. So yeah, I really like the McKercher pick. If McKercher was out for longer, I'd be definitely sold on him. They could work in the same side, and at 99k when he's eligible as a mid, we're so dire straights in the midfield that I can get around this pick. I just need to know that he's going to get games and consistently. I don't want him to be another dead rookie, especially at that 99k. You have to find money to get him to someone else because there's no other 99k mids that have sort of popped up at this point. So I don't know. Am I looking into it too much with McKercher being out of the side, is it elevated because he's out of the side? What's your view?
Uh, yeah, it's hard to tell. I just hope McKercher's up for round one, and then I think it's just as easy if he's named, he's in. If McKercher and him are named, then yeah, he's in. I think if McKercher's not named and Blameros is, um, then yeah, that's a bit of a red flag. But if they're both playing, lock him away, risk free at 99k. I really, really like it. That sort of sums up the players, mate. In terms of like players that missed from a North Melbourne side of things, you mentioned McKercher and Wardlaw both didn't play, and then pretty much half of Collingwood's best side didn't play. So we mentioned the midfield. There was no Howe, no Moore, no Crisp, no Sidebottom either. Angus Anderson didn't play, which was a bit of a tough one. Sort of rumoured for a round one debut. And it doesn't look like he'll get that now. Didn't get any mail as to why he didn't play, so we'll just have to wait and see there, unfortunately. But we're moving to the last game, which is just finished up in terms of the Eagles and Port. A few Supercoach relevant guys are coming out of this. Port absolutely dominated. The Eagles won by 75 points in the end, so could have been a lot more after the start that they had. But yeah, we'll start from a West Coast side of things, man. And Josh Lindsay, I think, is a lock at this point. Had 22 touches, kicked a goal. Didn't translate that well into Supercoach scoring, just 64 points, but the role is definitely there. He's a lock. He's a Monty.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Just lock him away in your defense. Took a couple of kickouts, which is always good as well. Some free points there. Yeah, lock that away. You could even play him on field, I think,
Yeah.
if he's just going to be playing that defensive role. 64 super coach, but the 22 touches, you want to see the role. That's the main thing. Harley Reid was a main midfielder from what I saw. Had the second most CBAs in the West Coast outfit with 25 CBAs. You're so hot on this guy. Are you scared off of it from today? Are you more sold on him after today? What's your verdict after 22 touches and 75, Supercoach?
Yeah, it's a bit alarming. I mean, the fact that West Coast got so heavily beaten up on was probably the most alarming point of it. The role was never going to be a question mark, but like he still played well. Like got his hands on the footy, but still just scored 75 because they were so badly beaten. So yeah, it's a bit. It has scared me off a little bit, and that elevated price tag, I'm not sure I can do it anymore, which is unfortunate. Because I still think there's every chance he does break out. His midfield partner in Tom McCarthy did dominate though. Had 21 CBA, so got that role change that we are expecting him to have. Had 19 touches, scored 97 Supercoach. So in a closer game, he probably would have scored a little bit more. But yeah, he looks to have taken up that midfield role with both hands and playing good footy with it. Dev Robinson, also another one who's just a lock, had 28 touches and 28 CBAs. So just huge. Just that number one midfielder in there. He's just a lock on field in your forward line. There's no questions asked. Could Schoenberg, Tice be a saviour in our midfield? Played high half forward, sorry. Had 13 touches and scored 49. It's not like mind-blowing numbers, but it's probably enough to have at M11 if we know he's getting a game.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is he going to get a game though? They had a lot of people missing as well. Like Jack Graham is definitely going to go back into this side. It's probably as easy for a Schoenberg and then adjusting that midfield to suit. Tim Kelly could also play that high half forward. We know that he's sort of been faded out of that midfield. He could easily just play as a high half forward. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they line up. I think Schoenberg was definitely fighting against Finn McRae. He was another one that played as a high half forward, but definitely took his opportunity. He had 21 touches, 68 super coach. Obviously in a demolition, 68 super coach is still pretty good from a rookie that you get. So, and he's got that mid forward DPP, which is nice. I think West Coast should be leaning more towards Finn McRae, but it's a wait and see on how their outfit comes round one. I think only one of them is going to get picked, if any. So I don't think both will get picked for the side. From the Port Adelaide side, it was Todd Marshall. Massive talking point in terms of super coach. Eligible as a forward, but plays as a defender now. I liked what I saw today. had 18 touches, 85 SuperCoach, took 10 marks, which is great to see. Are you very much sold on this pick now?
Yeah, completely sold. Took 5 intercept marks, 85 super coach. Yeah, lock him away. That was just a class performance. We were a bit scared off last week after being really quiet in the half footy that he played, but it looks like he can play the position. So I'm really happy with it. The role is gold. We love that intercepting key defender role. So now he's shown he can do it. I think you just lock him away. Connor Rosie dominated Tice. Had 33 touches, took a couple of kickouts, but was also attended the most CBA. Attended the most centre bounces for Port. So a bit of mid, bit of halfback, but he just showed what he can do in both positions. Completely dominated. Moving back over to the West Coast side of things, Willem Dersma, I was kind of hoping that he would be good, seeing as we are needing midfield rookies. But yeah, he was a bit quiet, unfortunately. Had 15 touches. Had a little bit of time in the midfield, had 8 centre bounce attendances. So could that be, something to look forward to in the rest of the year? But yeah, I think at that price, you just got to pass him now. I mean, he scored, what was it? 49. So nothing to write home about. It's just too expensive to be taking those scores, I think. Similarly can be said, Tyson, I'd like to get your opinion on this one, is Cooper Duff-Tyler. He was pretty quiet, had 5 touches, 9 hit-outs, scored 39 as well. I know a lot of people are wanting him just because of that flexibility, and he's going to be playing most games. Use that ruck forward DPP. Are you interested at all?
I'm interested just because he's got the job security. He's playing that second ruck. It's not like a 50-50 split with Matt Flynn. Matt Flynn is the ruck. While Matt Flynn is resting, it's Duff-Tyler in there. 20 ruck contests attended, whereas Matt Flynn had 74. So, yeah, you can clearly see the split there. I like the job security. I just think that it's going to be games very similar to this. I see West Coast probably getting the wooden spoon again. It's hard to pick a guy at that elevated price, although the second ruck is quite nice. It's kind of 3 points in there. It's 20 ruck contests. He had 9 hit-outs. That's pretty good return. I don't know. I'm very 50-50 on this at the moment. I'm leaning against it just because of the scoring potential of being a key forward mainly. Are you hotter on this pick now?
No, not really. I'm the same boat. I can see why you might be interested. It could open a few doors, 5 or 6 weeks down the track. But yeah, it's just too expensive, and I don't think the scoring will. There's every chance he goes down in price, and I think that's the sort of scores he'll be producing. So yeah, not that keen. Jacob Newton looked good earlier, kicked a couple of goals, was pulled from the game with some sort of injury. So interested to see how that goes, and if he can get up for round 1, does he get a game? Fingers crossed. Jack Watkins from a Port Adelaide side of things, Tice, 99k rookie, had 23 CBAs, so they really wanted to see what they had with him. He had 20 touches, 77 Supercoach. So, there was no Wines, no Will Brodie, obviously, no Miles Bergman. So there was opportunities in that midfield. And did he take it enough to warrant a spot come round 1? We'll just have to wait and see. But the 99k price tag is always really nice. And then Ryan Marriage, Tice, we were kind of heating to him after last week's game. He had just the 22 touches, scored 70 Supercoach. I think he just needs heaps of it to really, score those big hundreds that he did at times throughout last year. And there's no Duggan today, so I hope, does that take scoring off him? I think there's too many question marks, unfortunately, as much as I would love to pick Ryan Marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. He had 16 touches at halftime, and it looked like he was going to be a great pick, and then just sort of died off in the second half. But, I mean, he's the GOAT. Why not just pick him?
Yeah. Just the vibes.
Yeah. Yeah, just for vibes. Yeah. But, look, we said it before, West Coast aren't going to be a great outfit. The ball's going to be down there a fair bit. I quite like it in terms of the fact that, he's going to be around the pill a fair bit. Took 3 kick-ins. It's just we didn't see enough in this game to be able to be sold on him. And Zach Butters, 176 Supercoach, far out. This guy is a freak. 36 touches and 2 goals. If people weren't looking at him, it's as easy to just pick him up now. I do think he's going to finish as the number 1 mid. I know, Darcy, you have him as top 2. So, yeah, it's pretty easy. No early buy as well. So you can just lock away a big captaincy score with that early run as well that they have. Just so good to see. Yeah, but that's about it from this game. The notable players missing. Miles Bergman didn't play. How does that midfield mix look? Because he's been training as a midfielder when he's available. Will Brodie was named as emergency, so that kind of shoots the rookie lights out as well. Yeah, you said no Duggan, no Jack Graham, Starcevic. Does that affect anyone in that West Coast backline? Not too sure. Same with Jimby. Yeah, Ollie Wines was missing. Zerk Thatcher was missing from Port Adelaide. Does that affect Todd Marshall's role? Could be something we need to look at. And then Dante Vicentini was playing because Jordan Sweet was named as emergency. Just the last guy I wanted to touch on is the fact that he got 86 SuperCoach. West Coast was normally an outfit that we needed to target for the rucks. Did you see enough today for him to be somewhat of an option?
No, I didn't see enough at all. Yeah, you'd expect more from playing against West Coast. And yeah, he just didn't. So I scored 86, so it's not terrible. But yeah, against a weaker or an easier to score against West Coast, I wouldn't be taking that punt.
Yeah, I agree with that. That probably rounds out this episode. Nice long one for people to listen to. Make sure you jump across to the socials, drop us a follow and everything. And shout out to Footy Scores for this lovely website that they've brought up. So, yeah, that was nice to have. But unless you've got something else to add to us, I think that's pretty much it.
No, thanks, mate. No, go in depth into all the games, and it was nice to get some good footy back. So next up, round 0. We'll be giving you some more content before then. But yeah, keep an eye out on all of our socials, and if you have any questions, reach out. But thank you again. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Das.
Thanks, Das.